6 investigates one family's nightmare.
Now, imagine learning that the funeral home that you entrusted to handle a loved one's remains with dignity violated that trust. Chief Investigative Rick Spruill has the details of what one family's nightmare turned out to be, and be forewarned that some of those details are pretty disturbing.
Mary Ruiz's brother Ernesto Aguia's heart remains her favorite memory.
He had a big heart. Yes, he had a very, very big heart.
It explains why they were so close as kids.
We're very close. He was actually one of my closest brothers when we were growing up.
So when in June of 2015 she got the call that Ernesto lay unresponsive in a Houston hospital, Mary went to him and spent 3 days by his side.
I was never able to talk to him.
Mary says it was she who made the agonizing decision to remove Ernesto from life support. He was only 47. After the autopsy, which determined Ernesto had died of a heat stroke, Mary asked that his remains be brought here to the Buena Vista Funeral Home in Brownsville.
Mary made all of the arrangements and put all of her trust in the funeral home's hands. That's when the nightmare began.
A nightmare documented in the pages of a lawsuit Ruiz filed against the funeral home and its parent company, Service Corporation International. Details that defy imagination, starting with the first time funeral workers opened Ernesto's casket for the wake.
He had gnats all over his ears, around his neck, chest area.
Ruiz's son noticed it too.
My son said, "Mom, walk, get away from here."
But it was only the beginning. Days after Ernesto's burial, the Buena Vista Funeral Home asked for a meeting. Ruiz assumed they'd come to apologize, but instead they told her they'd found a bucket of organs in a refrigerator that they believed were Ernesto's.
They told me they're not labeled, they're in a bucket. I was speechless, like for 5 minutes. I just looked at them.
Stunned, the only question she could think to ask was if Ernesto's heart was in the bucket too.
They hesitated to answer, and they just nodded their head yes.
Mary says they offered no apology, no explanation, not even a refund on the almost $10,000 she paid them. Instead, they gave her 2 horrifying choices. They could disinter Ernesto's body and place his organs in a bag at his feet or on his chest, or they could cremate them. Ruiz didn't answer. She threw them out and later hired a lawyer. For her, it's not about the money. She says it's something much deeper.
I go back and I think about everything that I went through from the moment that I was by his bedside to the moment that I walked into that funeral home.
But the lawsuit has only brought more questions. It was Ruiz's lawyers that asked the funeral home to run a DNA test on the organs they claim were Ernesto's. And yet, not only was the DNA test inconclusive, the DNA analyst wrote that I can't say I believe any of the samples are human tissue.
Where are his organs now?
We don't know. No one knows.
Of course, Mary still cannot visit Ernesto's grave, which remains unmarked. It's just too painful. For her and her family, there is no peace, only nagging doubts.
We haven't had closure. We will never have closure, knowing that he was not laid to rest in peace like we all should.
Rick Spruill, 6 Investigates.
Wow, pretty unbelievable. Well, so far, the funeral home's parent company, Service Corporation International, has not responded to our request for comments, either on the claims by Ruiz or the pending lawsuit. However, the company is asking a judge to allow Mary's case to go to arbitration. Her lawyers are fighting that. They want a jury trial. We'll keep you posted on how all of this unfolds.